Well, hello, everybody. It is Opposite
The
Saxes
Saxes.
because it's Thursday and it is 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Good job.
Just had lunch,
Yep.
sat down, and let's talk about voting because it's right around the corner.
Yippee.
Again, yeah, yippee is a key word right now because I think yippee used to mean something. I'm not so sure it's so yippee anymore. The whole
It's hard.
yeah,
Now it's very hard to vote, and you have to make sure you read everything you can on what you have to bring. And even, are you allowed to vote? That's number one. I mean, if you've been voting for years, you're older, you're a senior, you have a pretty good chance of not having problems.
the upside is there's lots of different ways to vote. You may not have time now because it's getting so close to election day to get an absentee ballot. Certainly all over the country, there is early voting. People have been able to go to the polls at their will for a couple of weeks before the actual election day. I remember, going back years ago, you just had to get there sometime during the day and stand in line because you only had one option. There's lots of options to do it and all, but it's a matter of, I wonder, do we have too much apathy these days? Are there a lot of people that say, I don't believe in any of those politicians, I'm not even going to bother to vote?
Well, it's not only that, but I think a lot of people are listening to social media, to the radio and television, reading the newspapers. And in some aspects, they may say, oh, so-and-so is going to get in, so why bother voting?
Why bother voting? Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
And you can't listen to everything or everybody.
That's the shame of it. We have become a country of blue states and red states. And I don't really understand why, because honestly, if you really do your homework, unless you are just such a diehard Republican or Democrat where you go in and you
or independent.
Well, an independent, but you go into the poll and you just vote straight ticket, Democrat or Republican. Honestly, I think you're doing yourself an injustice because I at least have an open enough mind to try and do a little research and realize that there are some good Republicans, there are some good Democrats, and that there may be somebody that's running for an office that's a Republican that I like more than the Democratic candidate, or vice versa. But we've become, the phrase I was thinking about is we have become the divided states of America instead of the United States of America.
Unfortunately.
And I ask you to think about that as you go forward. Why do we have to be the divided states of America?
The old phrase, why can't we just all get along?
Yeah. And frankly, the whole atmosphere of campaigning has just weakened over the decades. I remember, you used to watch ads on TV and a candidate would say, elect me and I will do this, and I will do this, and I will do this. That's why I want your vote. But most of the ads today seem to be, if you vote for my opponent, this is going to happen.
This is what you have to look forward to.
Yeah, if you vote for him, then this is what he's done, and so this is what he's going to do. But I want to know, what are you going to do? If I cast my vote for you, how is that going to make my life better?
Well, and to make matters worse, even going back a step, to get into the primaries, to become a candidate, and beyond, the money that is poured in, the lobbyists that are out there, the money is unbelievable. They were talking about statistics the other morning, and we're talking millions in these chests, in these budgets for each candidate. Some have as much as 12, 15 million. It's incredible. And I think, I think if we could do something to maybe change that around.
But who's go?
I
Yeah, but who is going to vote
right,
for election reform
right,
and
right,
limit the amount of money that any candidate can raise? The Congress is not going to vote for that.
right,
The people probably aren't going to vote for
right,
that.
right.
Let
It's
them earn as much money as they can. The bottom line is when you realize that some of these guys go out and have these fundraisers and raise 20, 30 million dollars. And in the meantime, when you drive down the streets of some of these urban areas and you see people sleeping on the streets, you realize that there are some programs that really could use some of that money instead of
right.
people
You're right.
donating it
Absolutely.
to political campaigns.
Absolutely.
And
It's mind-boggling. And the other thing is, once this election is over, and whoever gets in, blue or red, I will just be happy to have my inbox not jammed with so many emails, and my phone that goes off constantly when there's a message,
yeah,
a text.
that's the modern technology. You receive
Oh my
solicitations
gosh.
via
It's
text,
never
Facebook,
ending.
Instagram, in the mail. There's postcards and
I don't
letters.
even see that as much, but I can walk away from the computer after checking my email. Not 10 minutes, 15 maybe, I'll be lenient, will go by. And I come back and I have 12 emails, 12 to 15 emails.
And
I
also
just
why
incredible.
and why is it that they tell you what they want to accomplish and then please fill out this form and send in your
Oh,
check
and yes.
for $10 or
Oh
$20
no,
or
just send
$50.
$3,
You
they
know,
say too.
in the meantime, you see on the news that they just had a fundraiser and raised, 3
Millions.
million.
Yeah.
So why are you nickel and diming the people to death? Now there are probably some people that'll say no, if they didn't go to the grassroots, they wouldn't raise the funds. And
Well, I'll tell you,
maybe in certain cases that's true.
what they could do with some of this money that is going to all of these candidates, they could upgrade the voting machines, because I just accidentally,
The system.
yeah, I just accidentally came on to this information when I was interested in looking at something else, and I come across the Brennan Center for Justice, who is named after, do you remember him? Justice William
Brennan.
Brennan.
Right.
Okay. And it's inspired, the Brennan Center for Justice is inspired by him. And they say it's their devotion to care for democratic freedoms. Okay.
Not Democrat or Republican.
No,
They're
no,
talking
no.
about the democratic freedom as a whole.
Freedom. The center works to strengthen democracy, end mass incarceration, and protect liberty and security. They employ lawyers, researchers, writers, social scientists, and advocates, and they work with the New York University Law School, NYU Law School, faculty and students. And their motto is equal justice for all. Okay. So they've been around years and years and years and years. Okay. And they have this thing on voting machines in 2022. And it is just amazing that in 2014, they found 43 states relied on machines that were past or near their expected lifespans. Okay. 14 states used at least some machines that were no longer manufactured and difficult to repair. Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so they got rid of them. They started with these little scam things where you had to let's go back to the Chads. Then they came out with the cards and you had to punch, but you had to be very careful to punch through the thing. And if you had a hanging Chad, a little thing didn't go all the way through, it was discounted. They got rid of that. Now you go through and you have to fill in the box completely and slide it into a computer, and the computer supposedly tabulates everything.
Right, exactly. So between 2014, when they found 43 states relied on machines that were outdated
How
or
many
breaking.
states? 43?
43 in 2014. Come to 2022. Now we're down to 6 states, okay, that are relying on those outdated machines. So at least some of the states have upgraded, okay?
Yeah. And those are probably the states that have the lowest populations. So they're not,
You know what the states
inundated.
are? Indiana, Louisiana, Mississippi, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Texas.
Still have the old antiquated
They're
machines.
just older. Yeah, they're just
using.
older machines. So they're aging past their life cycles and they're not being replaced. Okay. So that's number one.
You don't have a level playing field.
No,
Right.
we don't. We don't. The age of the equipment is just, whoa, it's out there. And the lifespan for these machines at this point, okay, the new ones are between 10 and 20 years, and they're saying closer to 10 years. Okay.
And so you wonder what's the answer? Why isn't there, in this modern age, why isn't there a more uniform machine that can be either purchased or whatever by every state, so that.
And they had a cybersecurity expert looking at them, and he's saying, from a security, which is true when you think about it, from a security perspective, the old software is so much riskier.
Sure.
Because it's so much easier to attack these machines.
And the tabulation machines too.
So now they're saying today, 24 states, which is about 41 million voters, they are using machines now that are about a decade old, about 10 years old.
Unfortunately, it's statistics like what you just talked about that maybe makes some people say, why bother? If I cast my vote, I may never even know if it's been tabulated or if it's been tabulated correctly. And every few years, certainly when administrations change, there's always this desire, if you will, to rewrite the voting laws. The Voting Rights Act was passed. It's a 15th Amendment to our Constitution. And that was passed in 1870 is when the Voting Rights Act. It has been challenged consistently over the decades and the centuries. And going back into, what is it, the 1990s is when there was a challenge, and that was the start of this. Well, if we can't restrict certain people from voting, let's just change the area.
Change the boundaries and
what they have to go through in order to vote.
Right. And
it always has been that way. And it was challenged again in 1965, in 70, in 75, and in 82, and they're still doing it today. And yet every American has the right to vote. It is part of the Constitution, and you want to yell and scream about all the other amendments to the Constitution that you think should remain and not be challenged. But the right to vote is definitely one
paramount. It's paramount to who we are and what we stand for. But I think we are always, no matter now or 30 years from now, we're always going to have some discrimination. That's just.
Well, there's always
the way it is. I don't.
Yeah, and that's why I say I think you need to. The papers are all filled with sample ballots, and honestly, I doubt if there's anybody that goes through the sample ballots and recognizes all of the names of all of the candidates in order to make a logical decision. But you got Google, and you can go through and you can find out about the candidates, and before you just go in there and just vote for them because of the party affiliation, and I'll get to know who they are, where they were educated, what's their background, what are they involved in, how do you feel about the issues, and then look and see how they feel about those issues,
and make sure that you are on a reputable website.
No, that's true.
That's a big thing.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why,
Yeah.
and let's face it, every candidate is the best candidate for the job in their words.
Mhm.
You have to do your due diligence and find out a little bit, because if you are concerned about how they feel about the economy, what they're going to do to get the economy moving ahead, do they want to raise taxes or lower taxes? What benefits do they feel they want to present? How do they feel about Medicare and Medicaid and various programs? What are their stances? You can email some of their sites and try and get those answers in advance. And you need to do that because you need to have an informed
You have to make
uh,
informed
choices.
decisions.
Yeah. And the most important decision to make is to get off your duff and go vote. Whether you do it in advance by mail or you do it on election day,
Just do it.
just do it. It's very important for the future of our country and the
yeah.
future of our democracy.
Right.
And not only that, but please, please, please vote for Opposite Saxes as your favorite show, at least on Thursdays at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I don't think that's on the ballot.
It's not on the ballot?
No.
Well, we're going to lobby to get it on the ballot for
Good
next
luck.
time. Okay. But in the meantime, go vote, come back and see us again next week.
Bye.
Bye.